what's up? It's Joe Ready from Rady's Rides, and I am here at Friendly Kia in Newport Richey, and finally bringing to you a brand new 2019 Kia Stinger GT2. So this is going to be a fully loaded rear-wheel drive rocket from South Korea. Underneath that hood, that V6 twin turbocharged 3.3 liters, putting out 365 horsepower. The styling, the functionality, the form, this is a Kia, everybody. Let's talk a little bit of history. So when you go back to 1993, that's when Kia America was incorporated. 1994, 4 dealerships out in Portland, Oregon, selling Kias for the first time on our shores in the United States. 2 options, the Kia Sophia and the Kia Sportage. Since then, it really has been a true hard work, bring some style, bring a great warranty, and bring over people from other organizations to bring Kia now, 2019, to the forefront of a lot of excitement, especially with this Kia Stinger GT. Let's go ahead and check out the front of this. So right off the bat, this looks like no other Kia you've seen before. A lot of it has to do with they brought over some of the higher executives from Audi, the designers from BMW with the M operation. You can see the styling. I really like how this car looks unique and it's functional. So these air scoops here, these are functional for directing air, aerodynamic purposes. They don't cool any brakes or anything like that, but that's okay. At least they're functional. They look really good. I love the headlight housings. I really think they went smart to go with an LED design that really shows off style. Check out the turn signals here. When you see these turn signals light up, whether it's day or night, it looks just so different because each one of these is individually going to light up yellow, and it just gives it a really nice look. As we go across the grille, every single manufacturer, I don't care if it's Kia, I don't care if it's BMW, whatever, they want to have a brand identity with the front of their car. Kia's doing a great job with this grille setup. How you notice it gets a little squeezed in the center and then it's flared out on both sides. I love the style, I love the design. One thing that's really cool is this shiny material. Now, I want to call this almost like a black chrome look. Very different from anything else that's on the market in this type of segment. Because remember, what Kia is doing with this car is they're taking their A game to BMW, to Audi, to kind of show, hey, look what we could do with a rear-wheel drive. Remember, the power in this car is going to those rear wheels. Very cool, very unbelievable. Kia, there's that name badge. This is probably the one thing that I'm gonna zonk is their actual name badge. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. This logo, there's only so much you could do with it. I would like to see them develop a unique Stinger logo. And that's the one thing, as we go around this car, you don't see much Stinger logos or any branding that way. And I think that's somewhere where Kia could make a little bit of improvement. Here's another thing. I'm gonna have Tom come on back and show you what I think is smart is, you know, you're seeing a lot more of these cars with this plastic area here in the grille. This is where they house all the technology for the adaptive cruise control and all that. What I like what they did is they brought the design of the actual grille and brought it into that plastic plate here. Because remember, this is smooth. That's smart. It makes it look cohesive. It makes it look like that's not even there. On some other cars, this thing pops out like a sore thumb. You also have a front-mounted camera so that when you're pulling into spots, you're not going to damage any of this lower grille area. Speaking of the lower grille area, I like the way that it has a nice flow to this lower lip spoiler area. You can see lurking behind this lower grille, and what's nice is that the design matches very similar to what's up top. You can see that large intercooler. Remember, twin turbocharged, 3.3 liter underneath that hood. This thing could 0 to 60, 4.5 seconds. Unbelievable. It's a Kia. Let's go ahead and go to the side. So as the lines wrap around to the side, I really like what's going on here. This wheel is phenomenal. 19-inch wheel. This is what you're gonna find on the GT2 package. Now you could come in to the Kia Stinger, and they have a 2-liter under the hood, and they have smaller wheels and stuff. But this one, if I'm gonna bring one to Rady's rides, I'm bringing the fully loaded one. Love the style of the wheel. I love the gunmetal gray, the brushed aluminum, huge Brembo calipers, very nice stopping capability. It's good to see that they're using name brands that people can associate with, people know, especially when it comes to performance, because this is a performance sedan. I think one thing I would like to see is a little bit more. They got great Brembo calipers. Let's see a little bit more larger rotors. They are ventilated, but they're not cross-drilled or slotted. That could be somewhere where you could pick up some extra braking capability. Because remember, when you get hard on those Brembos and they clamp down on those rotors, this car weighs about 3,800 pounds to 4,000 pounds, depending on how you have it optioned with all, because remember, you can get this all-wheel drive as well. But another smart thing is I love this cap. It makes the wheel look like it's a center locking wheel, and it hides the individual lug nuts. Just gives it a nice cohesive look. 19-inch wheel. Out back, it's 9.5 inches wide. So the wheels, the front ones are a little bit more narrow to help quicken up that steering. As we go into the side fender, there's some more of that black chrome, very nice touch. This is functional. This is not all show and no go. This is gonna help channel that air from the front, out the side. Very, very clean in this color. Now, if I'm gonna zonk the car, when it comes to vents, it's gonna be these on the hood. They look great, they're not functional. Why not make these functional? It wouldn't take much to turn these into 2 functional heat extractors, but I like the shape. I like how they added some of that silver just to break it up. But think about it, those would look beautiful if those were functional on both sides to help bring some of that heat. Because remember, twin turbocharged, 365 horsepower, you're gonna get some heat. As we work our way to the back, look at this mirror. Unbelievable, the style. I like how they took the black chrome from the fender onto the mirror. Another thing is, if you look very closely, they could have just slabbed on an LED turn signal in there. If you notice, it's very wide, then it pinches, then it goes wide again. Just the little touches, and that's what shows you that, guess what, the designers were thinking. They were looking for that enthusiast. They were thinking about style and standing out from the crowd. Up onto the roof, love the panoramic sunroof. I love how they went black. It really helps with just slimming down the height of the roof. Very nicely done. As we go towards the back, I'm gonna have Tom kind of show you on the side. I just love this lower body line, the way it extrudes here. Very nicely done. The lower sill, it really just makes the car look like an Audi or look like a BMW. I mean, it has that German style to a car that comes from South Korea. As we work our way back, very important. This part here is probably one of the most important parts in the car, because what it does is it squeezes everything together. It pinches it together, and it almost gives it like a sport coupe appearance. And that's what I love about this car. This car is a full 4-door sedan, but it has dimensions that doesn't make it look that way, like when you're physically looking at the car. As we work our way around, here's another zonk. What is this? I don't understand this. So you have the rear taillight, you have this reflector. Why letter A does it have to be so big? Letter B, why does it have to be here like that? I don't get it. What they should have done, and Tom and I were discussing this, is actually taken the taillight and just brought the taillight around to right about there. I think that the federal government would have no issue with that, but I guess there's something under federal laws that states that the reflector has to be that large. But take a look at a lot of other cars. They don't look that they could, because think about it. Here's the fender right above the tire, and here's this. And you can see with my hand here how large this reflector is. But as we wrap it around the back, this is where it just all comes together. I love the rear end of this car. Quad functional exhaust. These are not just some decorative piece. 4 pipes. I love the rear diffuser. I love how they took some of that front grille and brought it into the back. Even though this isn't functional, it's all about making it cohesive. Like how the rear trunk hatch area has a nice little kick up to it. One zonk I'm gonna do is I'm not really digging this plastic piece from taillight to taillight. There's no functionality to it. It does not light up. When you step on the brakes, you're only going to get LEDs around the clear areas. This does not light up. So I would like to see that be different. I do like the Stinger logo. My advice is remove that, put the Stinger logo here. I think that would be an extra nice touch, especially with this type of car. But you have your GT logo there. That's really nice touch. And then on the sides here, you can see how they brought some more of that plastic venting. Now that isn't functional, but listen, I'm not going to zonk that. That's so small, but I think it gives it that little extra flavor to the back of the car. Overall, I think they hit the outside, the nail right on the head. I think many of you would agree. Let's go ahead and take a look at that 3.3 liter V6 underneath the hood. All right, guys, time to take a peek underneath the hood of this 2019 Kia Stinger GT2. There she is. That's that 3.3 liter V6 twin turbocharged. You're looking at 365 horsepower. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. So no DCT, unfortunately, in this car, but we're gonna take it for a spin and just see how quick the shifts are in this particular car. Now, when you're looking at what are some other performance numbers, it's got 376 foot-pounds of torque. You're looking at 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds, quarter mile in 12.9, and a top speed of 167 miles an hour. MPGs, I know a lot of you are asking about that. 19 in the city, 25 on the highway, so not too bad considering the performance. And you're looking at that the car could weigh anywhere between 3,800 pounds and change up to 4,023 pounds, depending on how you have it optioned with the all-wheel drive. Remember, this has a limited slip diff, and because the GT2 has adjustable dampeners with the suspension. Very nice to see that type of technology, this type of performance. If I'm gonna zonk the engine compartment, it would have to be this plastic cover. Now, for some reason, they wanted to let you know that this was turbo. And it's just interesting how the script reminds me of something back from the early 90s or late 80s with the actual writing of the word. You can see that this is a direct injected engine, that twin turbocharged. What I've been thinking is, why hasn't Kia developed a Stinger logo? Now an actual, maybe like a scorpion tail or a scorpion itself or something like that, just to create that brand identity within Kia. I think that would go a long way. I do like the way they use these aluminum braces to stiffen up the front of the car, because remember, not only is this thing fast in a straight line for a sedan, it's also a handler as well because of those executives, those designers from Audi, from BMW coming over, not only to Kia, but also Hyundai, because remember, since 1998, Hyundai owns Kia. They're actually together. I think they own like 52% of the company. So that's where you're going to see a lot of that connection between the two brands. They're both South Korean. Enough talking about this power plant. Let's go ahead and fire it up. All right, guys, we're inside the 2019 Kia Stinger GT. Come on in, because I'm telling you, this is very, very nice, very upscale. Let's start on that door panel. Kia designers have really done their homework. I love the treatments with the leather. I love the silver. And what's really nice is that silver around the actual door handle, that's metal where that tweeter speaker cover is. Very nice touch. The cover itself is metal. It really has that extra upscale feel. If you're wondering, well, Joe, what is the MSRP for this upscale feel? This particular car, the way it's optioned, is around $51,000. So I know a lot of you right now are probably passing out or choking on your food or spilling your drink. But remember, this car, if you change the logos and put the Audi 4 rings or the BMW logo on it, would probably come in around $70,000. I'm not too sure if people are going to be willing to leave and jump ship from the brands that they love, BMW and Audi, because there's a lot of panache that comes with owning one of those. But this definitely allows somebody who wants this level of refinement, who wants this level of performance, that's a full four-door sedan, to have a choice. Let's go to the dash. I like the way the softer material has been put on the top portion of the dash and the front portion as well. I look at this and it screams Audi, Mercedes-Benz. Very clean. I love the air vents. They move with such a nice force to it. It's like you don't just like slide it across. You know, I remember back in the 80s, a lot of the AC vents over time, they would get loose and you'd have to take like a piece of cardboard and jam it in there. These, very nice. And then here's one thing. It's like they have a nice click to it. That's really, really nice. Just allows you to have that upscale feel. And you can see how the design, it's not just silver trim around it. It has like a little bit of a flow to it. Very nicely done. One thing that I know is hit or miss with a lot of these center infotainment systems nowadays is this tablet style infotainment screen. What's wonderful is that's an 8-inch screen, so you get great visibility. Look at how clear that navigation screen is. It does protrude, which I know some people are going to love, some people are going to hate, but this is what you're looking at when you look at a lot of the other brands, is this is what they're bringing to the table. And Kia wanted to match that. So you go in to your different menus. I mean, it's just so quick. And what's nice is you could slide it. I really like that. It reminds me of a cell phone when you're going through your apps. So very nice, very quick. You got your climate controls in there. Right now they're off. You could go back, go into that navigation screen. As we flow down, look how clean all the button layout is. So up here, very nice with the silver touches. And then down as we work our way, you have your dual climate control. If I'm gonna zonk this area, it's gonna be this climate control area. This is like a little bit harder plastic. I wish they would have took the silver and put it in and wrapped it all around in here. I think that would have just helped with the flow and also with the cohesiveness of it. But you do have your dual climate control. I just closed this. I noticed that it was open. Very nice. I like the way they put a cover here. And then when you open it up, you have your USB, you have your 12 volt, you have cordless charging. What a nice thing to have. You just put your phone in there, charges. Obviously you're going to have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You want to close this? Voila. Quiet. Nice. Here's the controls to that 8-speed automatic. What's really interesting is that, like a lot of other cars, if you haven't been in one of these lately, is when you want to go into park, you actually have to push the park button to actually place it into park. You have two decent sized cup holders here, and then electronic e-brake. Here's where we're going to go through our different drive modes, because remember, different drive modes. Let me pan back up to this screen though. Check this out. What I think is really cool is when you go through your different drive modes, it shows the car. And you can see you have comfort, you have sport. Of course it gets red for sport because red means you're going to race, right? You got purple for you can do all sorts of custom settings. And then of course for all the tree huggers out there and eco-friendly people, you have the eco mode, which is a nice thing as well. But this knob feels really good. You could shut the traction control off and really have a blast with all that power going to the rear wheels. And then what's also really wonderful, and I'm glad that they did this, is that they have one toggle switch for each of these seats, because guess what? At the end of the day, heated, that's what that means, and also air conditioned, that's what that means, all with the same switch. A lot of cars have two sets of switches. Now you have it in one nice setup, and it shows you that when it's the orange, that means your butt's on fire, that's the hot mode. And then if you're blue, it's nice and cool like an igloo. That's set up there for you. And what I really like too is it feels really good to flip these switches. At this price point, $51,000, these switches better feel good. And with this Kia, it works out really well. Nice size armrest. It is a little bit on the firm side, but guess what? I love the stitching. I love the height of it. You open it up, pretty decent storage space in there. There's no USB or anything like that, but why do you need that? Because you have it all up here. And then to wrap it off, that's probably a zonk, this little tray, because you got to make sure you just line it up perfect. Voila, these seats. Very, very nice. I love the style. I love the feel of it. Check out on the headrest. The GT logo is embossed into the back of the headrest. I love the contrast stitching everywhere. And remember, heated and air conditioned. On the side, they have some decent bolstering, nothing high at all on the bottom port, but on the sides here, very, very nice. Not too tight, not too loose, and it's really going to help because I'm telling you, you're going to want to take this out on a curvy road and really enjoy it. Why don't you come on over here and I'll show you the business end of things behind the wheel of the Stinger. All right, guys, here we are, business end of things behind the wheel of this Kia Stinger GT2. Let's look at the door panel one more time. I really like that metal, like I was telling you, and you can see the two different settings you could do for your memory seat there. Even like you could see, I like how they brought the handle out here. Just makes it look like somebody tried to really craft this, really design it. And I find that in a lot of other cars, that's being lost. The whole artistry of designing the car. Let's look at this interior. I love how they used a mixture of materials. So you have some gloss black here, you have the nice silver trim, and then this is probably one of my favorite parts of the interior besides the AC controls is this steering wheel. I love the size, I love the shape. It's got some nice contrast stitching around the inside, gloss black here, and then there's that GT logo. Like I said, I think somebody needs to come up with a design of some type of scorpion for the Stinger and have that be the logo that goes here, or take this Kia logo off and just put the Stinger name. I think that would also be a nice touch. But I really think if they had a scorpion, that really just helps create identity for the car amongst all the other cars that are in this field of luxury sedans and whatnot. Now, when it comes to the dash, I like the layout. It's a little simplistic. I'm going to go ahead and start it up, but one thing that's cool is pay attention to the center here. The car actually goes into the system check, and there was the picture of our Stinger GT that we're in. And what's really cool is it does a scan. You can see the analog, speedometer, and tachometer. If I'm going to zonk that area, I would like to see some of the brushed aluminum trim around the actual dials. That infotainment screen in the center there is a very good size. You can see that the doors open, obviously, but watch when I go through the different modes here. Here I am in sport, comfort. When you go into these different modes, not only are we doing things with engine components, but because this is a GT Level 2, it has adaptive dampeners. So you're going to be able to stiffen or soften the suspension depending on what mode is there, and it's cool. It shows you the knob. Another nice feature is, I know it's not raining right now, but I'm going to turn on the turn signal, the windshield wiper, and you can see how it tells you what mode you're in. So you don't have to look at the handle or anything. There's auto, there's off, just little features like that. Now, we could spend a whole hour Saturday after school special just on that dash, because this thing, you could adjust how many times the turn signal blinks when you tap it to switch lanes. You could have welcome music as you come in or get out, that you could set the different things. So lots of different ways to make this Stinger GT option 2 be your Stinger GT option 2. I'm 6 feet tall. I love the seating position. Pretty good headroom even with the sunroof, because remember, whenever you add a sunroof, it is going to bring down the roof line a little bit. Seat is very firm and keeps you in place. I'm not 100% sold yet. We're going to save that for when we go on the drive, how soft this is for a longer drive. But I love the actual overall position, especially for somebody my size, to be in the car. But let's go ahead and take a look at the back seat where your passengers are going to be spending time. All right, guys, back seat time in the Kia Stinger GT. Surprisingly, I don't feel claustrophobic in here. With that sloping roofline, it looks good. The problem is sometimes you never know what is it going to be like to be inside the car. As you can see, I surprisingly have plenty of headroom. Now, I left the seat exactly where it was. When you shut the car off, it moves it back. So I actually have a little bit more leg room than what's being displayed right now. But there's still, even though the seat, when you get out, it goes all the way back to allow easier entry into the car, even with it all the way back, it's still plenty of room here. Now, there is a lot of black, and I think, you know, that is gonna be a little bit of a problem. You got cheaper plastic on the backs of the seats, and I really don't like these nets. What I would have liked to seen, the leather come around and give me a leather pocket instead of these nets. That feels Kia right there. Center stack for the people in the back, you got a 12 volt, and you got your USB, and you have 2 AC vents back here, and they're that same style, nice and smooth. I love the clicking. The rotation of the knob just feels really, really upscale, like a Mercedes. Seats, very, very comfy. Pull this down, you got a nice armrest, 2 cup holders. I do like the way the seats position back a little bit. I think that's gonna help you when you're going down the road for a longer drive. And even being as tall as I am, I feel like I could drive in the back of this car, no problem whatsoever. Overall fit and finish is really good. I do like the way they brought the leather out onto the side as well, and just kept it very minimal with the plastic. The roof does slope down really sharply, but we'll talk about visibility when we take this one for a drive. Let's go look at the biggest surprise, which is the trunk area. All right, guys, it's time probably for one of the biggest surprises of the Kia Stinger GT. And what's really cool is I just want to show off the key fob. Why can't more manufacturers put a little design into this key fob? This one, it almost looks like a Zippo lighter or a bomb detonator, one of the two, but just really, really cool. And it actually has, this almost feels like leather, which is kind of cool as well. Now I'm gonna go ahead, it's real simple to open up the back. You're just gonna hold this, voila, here's the surprise. It's not actually a trunk, it's a hatchback. It's got a hatch style. Look at the size of this trunk. Very nicely done by Kia, and this is why, if you're saying to yourself, I really don't want to get an SUV, or maybe you're not even really into wagons, but this has that usability, has the space. I love how low it is, so that's going to really help with getting things in and out. Obviously, you get rid of this security shade, you fold down those seats, tons of room in the back of this Kia Stinger, and you got to give it to Kia. In a day and age when SUV sales are running rampant here in the United States, Kia decided, you know what, let's make something a little bit different. Let's make something that is usable, has the performance, but also has plenty of style. I mean, this thing is, it's like I have to almost get, look at this. I can fit inside the back of a Kia Stinger. Now, obviously, I would have to get down, and Tom would probably leave me back there, but very, very good size for a tailgate area in a hatchback. And then when you're done, you just hold it down. Voila. What a nice touch. You got those wonderful hydraulic struts. And that was another thing, even under the hood, hydraulic struts, not a prop rod like a bunch of other cars that are being sold today. Let's go ahead and finally take this one for a spin. Let's go do it. Rolled at a friendly Kia. We're in the 2019 Kia Stinger GT2, remember. Right off the bat, it's like sitting in the parking lot, you can feel how nice this car is, but once you roll out is really where you start to appreciate what Kia has done. Taking you down a little road here, I just have it in standard drive. Remember, you can utilize the paddles that are on the back of the steering wheel here. I have it in comfort. We turn the adjustment knob, comes up on display. We could put it into sport. Throttle, really, really nice. I mean, with those twin turbos, that's the nice thing about having a twin turbo setup, is that you don't have the lag, which is really nice that you're gonna sometimes have with other ones. But I'll go ahead and get on the loud pedal, and it drops down very nicely. Remember, you have those Brembo brakes, great feel from the steering. You could hear the lane keep assist as I went around that box that was in the road, but very, very nice and tidy up front. Really, really love what the suspension is doing, the way the car transitions through the turns. Very nicely done by Kia, and a lot of it has to do with bringing over those designers, those engineers from Audi and BMW and whatnot, and that's really where they've done their homework with this car, because this car is the total package. It's not just something to say, hey, we could do 0 to 60 in, you know, around 4.4, 4.5 seconds. but it's a car that is a driver's car. That's what's nice about it, even though it's a sedan. And even though it's weighing around 4,000 pounds. I'm gonna go ahead and get on the loud pedal, kicks down. I love the heads-up display, very smooth. The shifts, going even over some bumps, you're not getting that jarring effect, and you're not getting a ton of vibration, which is really, really nice. So Kia has done the homework with the sound deadening and the overall feel of the car. Just really, really wonderful setup. All right, guys, just driving nonchalant, this car obviously would make a perfect daily driver. We have a few of these little speed humps here, and I'm glad because it shows you when you go over it, you're not getting a lot of clacking and banging coming from the car. Very tight, like a very thought out instrument. And that's really what this car is that especially once you get up to speed, it really is very precise. I love the heads-up display. If I'm gonna zonk feel of something, it's gonna be these paddles. They are plastic, which it would be nice, especially with some of that aluminum that I was showing you, to bring that to the paddles, but the steering wheel I'm in love with. Love the style, love the design, love the shape, and the gauges are very easy to see and navigate through. If you want to try your different modes, it's wonderful that it shows up in front of you, and it also comes up on the infotainment screen as well. And you can see with that navigation system, very clear graphics, love the color, love the fonts, and you have the ability to zoom around it any which way you want, which is really nice as well. But this is a car that obviously you can drive hundreds of miles and feel very comfortable, and it's great because it gives you an option. I know SUVs are selling like hotcakes, but it's great to have options for someone who doesn't want to go the SUV route. Because remember, city, you're looking around 19 in the city. That's pretty respectable for a car with 365 horsepower, you know, all that torque going to the rear wheels. That's the extra goodness in this. All right, guys, like I said before, pulling out, great visibility too. Even looking out the back window, great visibility. I'm gonna be a little quiet here as we go down the road so you can hear the different sounds and whatnot from the engine in the car. But I'm gonna go ahead and get on it through this little section here. The rear wheel drive works very well, very controlled, very planted. That's what's nice about the suspension, especially in the sport mode. Because remember, GT2, you might want to go that option route, especially if you have some nice twisties, or even a track day if you wanted to do, or an autocross event in this car. Even at this size, with the rear wheel drive and those adjustable dampeners, you get great response and feedback from the car, and the car communicates to you almost like it's neurologically connected to your brain. And that's a wonderful thing, is that to have that kind of feel. Because if you look at some of the other competitors, especially BMW, over the years they've kind of lost their way with that driver engagement and that driver connectivity. And I really feel that in this Kia Stinger, they're really hitting the nail on the head with overall responsiveness and feedback from this car. Love the air conditioned seats. Love, like I said, side visibility is great. I'm shocked that even out the back, you would think with the sloping roof line, I have a passenger sitting back there, you would think, oh, you're not gonna be able to see. You can see very well, and they're not leaning over or anything like that. Guys, this car, unbelievable, just what they're doing with the quality. I love the gearbox in it, because even though it's not a dual clutch setup, and I know a lot of people are disappointed by that, the shifts are very fast, very crisp. I'll go ahead and get on it right here in this little short shoot, and you can see that it drops down. The brakes are great. Awesome pedal feel back. They're not mushy whatsoever, and that makes sense because we're using quality products. That name Brembo, been around for decades throughout racing and whatnot. On this Kia Stinger GT, makes sense. It makes sense at the end of the day with this type of performance, and it's nice to be in a rear-wheel drive sedan. How often can you say that in a particular car of any brand? So that's a very nice feeling in this car. But over bumps, perfect. AC controls, everything is exactly where you want it. Now, the only thing that is probably going to take some thought if you've never been in this particular car or a car that has this setup is when you go to put it in like park and whatnot. You're so used to especially if you've been driving for a long time, you put it into park and you're done. Here, you're actually gonna push that button like I showed you earlier, and that's gonna put it into park for you. So that it has some intricate things that you just kind of get used to. And like I said, you could probably spend a whole weekend going through all the features, setting up the intro music when you come in, setting up how many times, like when you tap the turn signal, how many times you want it to blink before it stops. All of that is customizable to you. Just like with this seat, the interior, so comfortable, seats are very supportive, and I think I'm gonna come to my conclusion on the seat. They're perfect. They really are. They're firm enough to where it's holding you in place, but you have the comfort to it to where over on a long drive you're not going to go numb in your legs or anything like that. And that's something to remember, because I'll be honest, I've sat in some Alphas, I've sat in some Audis, and sometimes it feels a little stiff to where you wouldn't want to be in it all day long. Even sitting here, very quiet, AC is quiet, wonderful, wonderful layout. Some of the other things I've noticed just with my attention to detail is I like the way that the dash has a nice flow to it, comes around and wraps around to the edges and is integrated into those slots in the door panels. Very nicely thought out. There is nothing on this car that they just designed with a blindfold on. They put time, they put effort into it, and it really, really makes sense. Let me go ahead and just get on it real quick here. Drops down. If I could say anything, if Kia's listening, I would like just a little bit more noise from the car. Now, I'm not saying that you need to slap a louder exhaust on and upset a bunch of people, but maybe have some type of system to get the sound into the car, because that V6 with the twin turbochargers, you know we could get a good sound out of that. So it sounds good. I'm not saying it sounds terrible. I just would like a tad more. How about this? We have adaptive dampeners. We have the ability to go in different modes. Why not have an adaptive exhaust? Lots of other brands are doing it. Have 3 modes: quiet, normal, and sport. You're done at the end of the day. So that's probably one thing from the driving experience that I would like to see added to the car. And I guarantee you, very short amount of time, I bet you Kia will have that under control and all added to the car. All right, guys, it's been a fantastic day here at Friendly Kia. Definitely got to give a huge shout and a thank you to Tyler and everybody else here at the dealership, opening up the doors, bringing Rady's Rides on board to bring to you some really, really unique and interesting cars. And at the end of the day, you have to give it to Kia to develop a car for the enthusiast, for somebody who wants performance, wants style, wants usability, all in a nice cohesive package. If these are the types of cars you like to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in that comment section. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, make sure you hit subscribe on your way out. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. Make sure you check out my other social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all Rady's Rides original content. Merch, I know a lot of you have been asking. Click the button somewhere above my head. Should have came on during this video. That'll take you to Spreadshirt. We got to thank the man of the hour, Tom Mosher, Big Guns McGee. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. I got him some special protein, and things are going to be okay. So thank you, Tom, for all that. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.